Just remember, you won in New Jersey, Florida, Texas, Missouri, and you got it. Stop trying to play us. I know it's only week 1, but Jersey football is only getting started. And we're getting started right here, right now, on the Garden Statement. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Neri Rodriguez here, back with the Garden Statement Week 1 edition. We had a great opening weekend here for high school football in New Jersey. Week 0 was popping. Had some great national matchups at Battle at the Beach and some in-state upsets going down in West Orange at the Mountaineer Classic. Both events top-notch to begin the year. Going to be hard to top that, but we do have some good matchups going on here in week 1. Before we jump into some of the big headlines and things like that, it was just, let me just say, it was amazing to just be back out here going for, I believe this might be my 8th season doing high school football here, but it never gets old, man. I was fortunate enough, my first game I stopped by was Union and Woodbridge. Not the most thrilling game. Both of these teams in interesting situations. With Woodbridge, they had the Anderson twins and a boatload of seniors that left. Hard to replace those guys. Coach Joe LaSala really got the program revitalized, and then Coach Joe George coming over from South Brunswick, just put his own style on it. So shout out to the Barons. They have a great program. Once again, they're a little young. I don't know about this year, but they will get there. It seems like they have a good nucleus. And then they were facing off with Union, who kept most of their staff. They added legendary Coach Darnell Grant. And Boris Grant, I'm sorry. And, a little bit of a rough outing for the Farmers. I think they'll get it. Coach Grant knows what he's doing. That's why he's a state championship winning coach. He did great things over at Hillside. So I'm interested to see what he will do with the Group 5 program and, the Union coaching staff, assistant coaching staff. We go way back. So, I know they'll get it together, and I'm excited for the Coach Grant era there over at Union. It's one game, so we'll just see. We'll see what happens. Not like I said, not the most thrilling game, but this was. I'll be straight up with you. It was kind of a growing pains game from both sides of it, and being over in the Woodbridge huddle afterwards, Coach George, it's why he's one of the best, just motivating these young men and just letting them know, just because it's not a huge, spectacular blowout victory with huge plays. For me, they played great defense, and they just is death by 1,000 paper cuts. They're just running it down the field and punching it in eventually, but that's just how some games are gonna go. So I'm hoping they give us some good highlights this year, but shout out to both of those programs. Did not see the field on Saturday, but Friday I went back to one of my scenes of the crime for the 2024 season. I popped out to Point Borough at RFH. Now going over there, I had no doubt that RFH would still have something there. I didn't see the Bulldogs winning a state title and just dropping off like that. I know some people had Point Borough favored in this one. I was leaning a little bit towards RFH more, and let me just tell you, they did not disappoint. Just put a shellacking on Point Borough, and it's nothing against those guys. That the team, for all intents and purposes, was alert. I love there was a play right there before halftime. They caught the Bulldogs sleeping. RFH went in the locker room. Point Borough ran a play. I mean, it didn't work out for them, but I don't think I don't think the Panthers are going to have a bad season by any means. Will they see RFH again? I'm not sure. Group 2 has some really good programs, but it was just a great short conference matchup, and just shout out to the 2025 Bulldogs. Kellen Moore, great running back, really was just a nice complimentary piece to Owen O'Toole, who was I believe a 5,000-yard passer. But Kellen really going to be the he's really going to be the backbone of this team this season, and I'm excited to see what he's going to do. But yeah, big win for the Bulldogs. But let's I don't want to bury the lead here. Let's get into some of the, I wouldn't say hot topics of week 0, but just recapping some of the big moments. And believe it or not, one of the biggest moments comes in a loss for a New Jersey team that was taking on a national powerhouse. So I'm just gonna flat out say, shout out to Winslow. These young men, these last 2 seasons, and even before that, but I'm just saying last year really was a treat to keep up with these guys. The whole Winslow community, like I said, players and coaches, just shout out to all of you guys. You go up against IMG Academy, and even though you come up short, you made the state so proud. This public school from South Jersey, always catching their own strays. But, this public school from South Jersey decides to take on the national powerhouse in IMG, and just taking on a Florida opponent in general is, that's a special moment for our state. Love me some Florida football. So anytime worlds get to collide, I'm all for it. That's what I'm talking about. But, Winslow comes up short. IMG just making a whole bunch of plays. I don't know how they'll fare with their schedule. They're going to come to Hun, so we'll see how they fare against the Raiders and the number 1 ranked player in the state in Luke Wayful and company. They got a whole bunch of guys, so it's not. When I say Luke, I'm not disrespecting y'all. I got mad love for Coach Smith and Coach Raz. They already know that. But anyway, just shout out to Winslow. I mean, from what I saw, like I said, I know they came up with the loss, but just they look very, very promising. And, listen, they should be favorites to return to the state final. So shout out to you guys. And then some of the other national crossover matchups, what will have you Bergen Catholic with an absolute insane finish against East St. Louis. And the play of the game right here. The block punt for some fresh cookies. Don't ever come to Jersey again. But seriously, BC, a straight problem, son. Shout out to Bergen, though. They get a huge win against the national opponent. The number 1 ranked team in the state opens up with a dub. Some nice contrast to them losing to IMG to start the year at Battle at the Beach. Should they have run it back? I'm not sure, but it was an exciting game to watch, and I guess it was good that Winslow got IMG. And then one of the other national spotlights that unfortunately didn't take place in the Garden State was Don Bosco's big win over in Melissa, Texas. Like I said, along right up there with Florida, Texas football is something special. So anytime New Jersey gets to line up against them, it's a treat. When we beat them, it's even better. So it's your call, Texas. You want that smoke? Let us know. But shout out to Don Bosco. I can't wait to see my guys eventually here. Hopefully it's before the big Bergen Catholic rivalry game. And, I'm sure I'll be ripping out my hair looking for parking for that one. But until then, shout out to you guys. And, Battle of the Beach had so many great matchups. The Northern Highlands game. It was cool to see the Highlanders get their first dub, and Rowan getting in the mix there. It's not that they should just play all the games at the damn Ferris wheel, right? That's what you guys are advertising. You make it such a big deal, and it's super far for most people. Just play at the Ferris wheel, dog. All right, I'm a Rowan alum. I love Rowan. There's no beach there. Just play at the beach. Anyway, the other good showcase, whatever you have it, event, the Mountaineer Classic going up at West Orange. One of the first upsets. Listen, it is PCTI is a playoff. How do you say this? Playoff experienced team. I know they didn't get it done last year. And Burlington Township, in their own respect, is a program with their own playoff history. That runs deep, and they add legendary coach, Coach Steve Everett, coming over from Willingboro. So, it was only a matter of time before these guys got on track. But they got a huge win. The Falcons got a huge win over PCTI. We are fortunate to have Bryce Carter join us for his reaction on that. The junior really shined in that one. And should be on everyone's list going forward. And his name's escaping me right now, but they just straight up got after it against PCTI. The Falcons won big. I believe the score was 40-6, around there. So yeah, they looking at their schedule. Burlington Township has a very good chance at running the table here, finishing undefeated. So I will be interested to see where the Falcons will land this postseason. Like I said, it was only week 0. We have a long way to go. But that was a huge win for them. And then, to cap off the Mountaineer Classic on Saturday night, was, the epic finish between West Orange and Shabazz. Shabazz, gets with, I'm just going to flat out say it. They didn't catch that ball then. I saw the replay. It looked like it hit the ground. What are you going to do? But the game-winning field goal, it's the stuff of Disney movies, man. So shout out to Shabazz. They upset the Mountaineers on their home turf. I don't think West Orange is going to be going anywhere, but it'll be great motivation for both teams going forward. And listen, we had Alex Hanks on last week. I wasn't just saying it because he was on the show. East Orange, West Orange, that's a matchup. If you're a New Jersey football fan, you got to try to make it out to at least once. And my apologies, because the other huge outing at Battle at the Beach at Rowan University, where there's no beach, was Rancocas Valley upsetting Millville. The Red Devils, great season last year. They ran into a buzzsaw in Toms River North. Millville, historically always good. They were tough last year. A lot of high expectations for them coming in 2025. But Savion Adams, talk about making a name for yourself. I was so impressed with what this kid did. We had Coach Lucas on leading up to the game. He was very confident in his team, as he should be right now in South Jersey. If you're in Group 5, you don't want to see Rancocas Valley, because those guys are firing on all cylinders. And I would not be surprised if Mr. Adams gets himself a Power 5 offer here before it's all said and done. But that was last week. Let's focus on this week. Like I said, we only have We only have one interview for you today, and it is going to be with Bryce Carter, or Burlington Township. So we are excited to bring you that, and we're gonna jump in to week 1. Yes, it's official. Everybody's gonna be going. So we are gonna break down week 1. But like I said, before we do that, let's jump to our interview with Bryce Carter. All right, let's welcome in our next guest. He's coming off a huge upset win over PCTI. Let's welcome in Burlington Township quarterback Bryce Carter. Bryce, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
For sure, man. We had to have you on the show. Lit it up, like I said, against PCTI in week 0. Mountaineer
Yeah.
Classic. Shout out to West Orange. Listen, you took down a formidable opponent that's been in the playoffs the last, however long, how many years. Tell me, what was that win like over PCTI?
It was really good. It felt really good. It was my first varsity start, so it felt great to come out with a win and by so much, like as we did. So it felt pretty good. I feel like we also had like a lot of stuff that we could have cleaned up to like make it even better, but it was a really good win.
Yeah, and kind of just take me through the game, kind of flow, what coach kind of preached to you beforehand, and yeah, just take me through your. I guess let's go through the first half, with the Bulldogs.
Yeah. Coming out, I think we completed 2 passes, and then we got stopped on third down. We ended up punting, and then I'm pretty sure our punting team got the ball back. The receiver muffed the kick, so we got the punt. We got the ball right back. And then we ended up going down and scoring. And then we ended up kicking off to them again in their first offensive play. Julian Lattimore had a really big hit, knocked the ball out, and we got it back again. And then we ended up going down and scoring again. So we got off to a pretty fast start against them.
Nice, and that's usually something I I like to, I guess you could say, observe whatever, but um if I was there post game, I would ask you, how important was it that you guys, you know, just got ahead first,
Yeah.
I guess I'll ask you that right now. How important was it for the momentum that you guys really did take that big lead to start?
Yeah, it was really important. I know a lot last year we got off to a couple slow starts, which kept a lot of teams in the game. So I knew like if we got off to a fast start, we would come out on top over them.
And we were talking a little bit before we got started. You said you transferred in from Roman Catholic in Philadelphia, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you came in last year?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
Okay. So, and I believe Coach Everett was still there, correct?
yeah, he was there for
Correct
my
me if I'm wrong.
sophomore year. Yeah,
Okay, yeah. Because like I said, I know him from his days at Willingboro. I
yep,
also knew Coach Madeira at BT. So it's a little odd to see him in a different uniform, but he still carries that same swagger and tenacity that he did when he was over at Willingboro. Tell me, what's it like playing for Coach Everett, and how important was his preparation to that victory for you guys?
it's great playing for him. He's a very calm, collected guy. Doesn't really yell much. It helps like keep our team composed. And like the whole game, he was just telling us to defy the odds. Going into that game, we were like we were picked to lose by everybody. We were not supposed to win that game by what it said on the all the websites and stuff. So he just kept telling us to defy the odds, and like that's what we did.
That's why he's one of the best. Burlington Township, a very storied program, with a lengthy playoff record themselves. Um, you transferred, like I said, you transferred in from a school with their own history and things like that, with sports in this area. But what's it been like playing for Burlington Township, and just for people who don't know, well, what does it mean to be a Falcon?
It means a lot to me. It's great being able to play like in my hometown, not being so far away from my family and stuff. It's also been like really welcoming. I've already known a lot of the guys for a pretty long time before I got here. A lot of them played on my GA team back when I was in eighth grade. So it's like my youth team is like back reunited again. So it's great.
Yeah, man, and when you start off with a huge win like this, you're definitely going to draw some eyeballs. Like I said, with a program like Burlington Township, it's only a matter of time before you're going to get everybody's best if you're not already. Uh,
Yeah.
so coming off the big win, what did coach kind of tell you guys, and just what's the vibe like, kind of just going forward after you're gonna, like I said, you're gonna have a lot of eyeballs on you.
Yeah, he basically just told us to keep working hard, not be satisfied with the rankings or anything, not get complacent, because we still have a lot of tough games on our schedule. We just got to keep pushing, keep working hard in practice.
And being not only um the quarterback on the team, but it comes with leadership. What are you just seeing from these guys early on? I know you only got one game under your belt so far, but yeah, well,
Yeah,
what's the vibe like from this team?
I feel like everybody's buying in a lot earlier than last year. Everybody's really focused, ready to go. All the guys watching film and stuff, like the film hours have been great. Everybody's like coming together, talking as a team, doing like extracurricular stuff outside of football together, and just like making it a real big team aspect.
And you're only a junior. Hopefully we'll get to see you for this season and another. Um, but what are some of the expectations that you have for yourself? In 2025.
Um, I don't really want to make it geared to myself. I would say for my team, I'd like to bring a state championship back to Burlington Township. Um, I'd like to have 1,000-yard receiver as well. So just keep getting my guys involved and stuff, and then everything that happens for me will just go from there.
Yeah, and we had a tough time picking one person. Kind of to represent Burlington Township, because like it was a big team win. But for those who don't know, who are some of the who are some of you know your main guys that the rest of the state needs to know about?
Yeah. We had a freshman who came in by the name of Gerald Sackey. He's made a really big impact from the beginning. We also have Makai Curry, Julian Lattimore, and Lamar Carnjay.
Okay, what are their positions?
Julian Lattimore and Lamar Carnjay are our slot receivers, and then Gerald Sackey and Makai Curry are our outside guys, our bigger physical receivers.
So we'll definitely be keeping an eye on that. Just looking at your schedule here. Let me see if I can pull it up real fast for you. Um, like I said, we're only one game down,
Yeah.
but what is there any other games on this schedule that I know they're all important, but that Burlington Township is looking forward to?
I would say we always like to keep a faceless opponent, treat all our opponents the same. But just like going back to last year, I would say Hopewell sticks out to me a little bit just because we lost that game last year.
I like it. I like it. That was a smooth response. I love that. Bryce, I don't want to keep you too much longer. Um, you know, I'll end on that one. But I know, like I said, I know it's only one game in, but just what were some of the takeaways, and how are you guys going to use that big dub going forward?
Um, I would say it was definitely great to get a first win, our first win, just so that energy stays up, the guys are more confident and stuff. I feel like the offense played really well. We could always do better. Defensively, we played really well too. Just some stuff to clean up and just get better just going into next week. Just keep pushing.
Yeah, actually, I'm throwing it in an extra question, because we had Battle of the Beach. You guys do the Mountaineer Classic, but we got treated to a little cross state Football, always nice when the North and the South can kind of get together. You got some bragging rights right now. What can you just say about South Jersey football, though? I mean, both styles, in my opinion, have a little bit of difference. But what can you just say about South Jersey football?
I would definitely say South Jersey football is definitely on the come up. We have a lot more guys down in South Jersey that stay public at public schools and stuff. So there's a lot more public schools like in the mix now than I would say up north. So we're starting to get put on the map, I would say.
I love it. I love it. We're definitely gonna have to clip that. Like I said, Bryce, I don't want to keep you too much longer. Um, but what does the rest of the state need to know about Burlington Township going forward in 2025?
Uh, we're hungry. We're ready to go. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. We're hungry. We're ready to go. We really want it. So
Awesome. Well, Bryce, I wish you all the best of luck, brother. Give my best to Coach Everett. Um, and we're looking forward to seeing what you and your Falcon teammates can do uh, right here in the rest of 2025.
yes, sir.
All right, man. Take care. I'll be pulling
All
for
right.
you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate
Yep.
it.
All right. Without further ado, let's jump into the week 1 schedule. All right, little Thursday night action. We got Pennsauken at Washington Township. Little South Jersey matchup to get things going on Thursday night this week. And then Friday night, we got our guys from DePaul Catholic going up to Good Counsel in Maryland. That's always a good matchup. That's the same school that Trayvon and Stephon Diggs went to. Also produced a lot of different talent. If you heard my opening monologue, I'm all for national matchups. So anytime we get to go see Maryland football, I'm always a fan. So shout out to our guys at DePaul Catholic. They opened up with a huge win over Pope John. Pope John was without Coach Dom Gaston or Gaston, who was out with serving 1 game suspension. Not sure what that was for, but yeah, I'm interested to see what Pope John is going to do. DePaul still got Derek Zammit, and they still got that great coaching staff, so it's hard to count them out. Out-of-state opponents are always going to be tough to judge. So we'll see what DePaul does in this one. But listen, I'm always going to root Jersey, so that's what it is. Bayonne at Elizabeth. I like this. It's definitely North Jersey swag. I love going to Elizabeth Stadium. I need a little more info on both these teams. I'm not gonna lie, but this should be a good one. I heard a couple slivers about Elizabeth heading into the season, so I'm gonna have to pay them a visit at some point. But I like this matchup. Now, this one, Millville and Atlantic City, a lot of hype around this one. Millville coming off that stinging loss to RV. Atlantic City, we I don't know exactly who from I don't know if it's Atlantic City fan base, whatever have you. They are pumped. They are ready for this one. You know, listen, South Jersey football is where I kind of got my start. Um, it'll always hold a special place in my heart. Obviously, I'm always going to root more Central and North because that's where I'm from. But there's going to be huge. There's going to be a huge. This might actually be the public school matchup of the weekend. Like I said, I know Millville really wants some get back here. And the Bolts just have historically they're just a good program, always coach well, even when they have quote unquote down years. It's really hard to count them out. But listen, Atlantic City opens up with a huge statement win against Mainland. So they have all the momentum. And taking a look at their schedule, this is this is one tough regular season schedule here. They're going to take on Millville and then head to Cedar Creek. Ocean City could be a toss-up, but Cherokee always got something. They'll be tough. Vineland, they've taken a kind of a step back these last couple years. Eastern's okay. Hamilton will probably give them a fight, and then Holy Spirit to close it out. So should be good. Should be good. But and then let's take a look at Millville's schedule real fast. Yeah, the the Bolts always know how to do it to themselves. Yeah, after Atlantic City, they're going to take on Mainland. Like I said, Mainland suffering that opening week loss. Honestly, doesn't really mean much though, because Coach Smith always gets his guys rallying, and then we'll see how Washington Township fares against Pennsauken. But that Winslow game, that's get back city. Let's get back city. Winslow is not playing, bro. They are not playing. And like I said, you're gonna get you'll probably get a good game out of Cherokee and then St. Augustine. It's the South Jersey public that everybody wants. I mean, non-public that everybody wants to beat. So if I had to give my prediction on this one, listen, it's in favor of Atlantic City. All right. It's in favor of Atlantic City. I don't see the Bolts going 0-2. I really want to lean towards the Vikings, but something in my gut is just telling me Millville is not starting the year 0-2. So I will give Millville the get back game. All right. I think they're gonna pull this one out. Rancocas Valley at Pleasantville. RV should without a doubt be behind Winslow. Should probably be considered, the that's tough because now that I just said it out loud. I mean, you have to throw Glassboro in there, but I would say Glassboro, Winslow, Rancocas Valley, these should be the three top publics in South Jersey. Like I said, Savion Adams is a special young man. Some of them runs in that Millville game were really special, and just looking at the speed, everything. I mean, I believe he might be 6'3", just a incredible talent. And when he's out there running, he don't look like a quarterback. I can tell you that much. Listen, RV, like I just said, they should be the favorite in South Jersey Group 5. It's a long season. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I see them getting this dub over Pleasantville. And I think if you're a fan, you wanna cash in that RV ticket as much as you can this year. So they got the defense, they got the quarterback, and they have the coaching. So shout out to Coach Lucas. Yeah, but I like RV in that one. Kingsway at Camden. This is another good South Jersey public school matchup. Two programs with their own recent history. Kingsway, I am curious to see what the Dragons have going on this year. And then Camden, we had Ibn Muhammad, the Syracuse commit, on last week. Coach Rob Hinson always does a great job, always knows how to motivate, and always gets the most out of his players. So, the Hinson era is definitely in full effect. I'm gonna take the Panthers on this one, though. I think I haven't really brushed up or heard anything on my Kingsway guys. So until They could very well pull this one off, but until then, I'm gonna rock with Camden on this one. All right, Bergen Catholic not stopping the national tour. They're actually heading out to play West Boca. Oh man, Boca Raton. This time of year, probably so nice. Shout out to those guys. Be a great experience for those young men. I am not really brushed up on my West Boca football knowledge. But Bergen's rolling right now. They, like I said, they squeak out that win versus East St. Louis. I'll say they got their bearings underneath them. We will see. Like I said, the Crusaders, a lot of turnover last year. They lose some key players like Quincy Porter, who's over at OSU now, and Dom Campanelli, who was the quarterback there for multiple seasons, is no longer there. And they just have a couple more holes to fill. But luckily, they have the number one running back in New Jersey, and Najee Calhoun. So, regardless, like I said, I'm always going to take Jersey. And shout out to Bergen Catholic. St. Augustine, PVI, it's going down. Paul the Sixth. I wouldn't say really known for their football. St. Augustine very much. I think Prep. I wouldn't say they had a down year last year, but they definitely had some ups and downs, and the RV game and the battle with Millville was definitely tough ones for them. Like I said, Paul the Sixth climbing the football ranks here. Last couple seasons. I'm gonna take St. Augustine in this one though. I think they have more star power. Like I said, they got my guy going to OSU on the D line, so hard to match up against the Hermits in this one, Eagles. But I'm gonna go with St. Augustine. All right, we got Middletown, Delaware coming down to the Shore Conference, taking on Red Bank Catholic, and those two freshmen, just incredible. Great outing for the Caseys. I was a little hard on them last week because I just was not impressed with their play last year, and I don't even want to say it was shocking. I mean, Toms River North, I'm not sure that they're completely done. It's hard to judge off one game, but Red Bank Catholic definitely had a long off season because those kids were just lights out. Like I said, the two freshmen, shout out to them. They were lights out. I hope they can keep it coming. And hopefully they stay at Red Bank Catholic to just keep the short conference buzzing. But yeah, when it comes to this matchup, I don't know a ton about Middletown, Delaware. But I do know this Red Bank Catholic team definitely has a different feel to it than last year. I think they got their own swagger, their own spark. So I'm always going to rep Jersey, like I said. So Casey's, I'm pulling for you. Ooh, and then going down at Hinchcliffe Stadium. I believe this is the Zone 6 event. West Orange, PCTI, both teams looking for get back. Look, I saw the replay. West Orange. I don't think the Shabazz touchdown should have counted, and but nothing you can do. They played great. End of the game was a struggle for them last year. I saw them versus Phillipsburg and then East Orange in the sectional final. Finishing was definitely a problem for the Mountaineers last year. So, seeing the way that they lost last week, I wouldn't say I was shocked, but it's just something that I feel like it plagued them last year, and hopefully it's not creeping into this season. But PCTI outright losing outright losing to Burlington Township. And, this is a program that has made the state final the last couple years, and has produced some great talent. The Dye twins, they were a lot of fun to watch. But yeah, there's gonna be a big proving ground game for both these teams. I like West Orange a little bit more in this, just because they were in a much closer game. But it's hard to rule out PCTI. I'm gonna go with the Mountaineers in this one. Like I said, they had a more heartbreaking loss. I think they might have it a little bit more together, but that's not to say that the Bulldogs aren't going to make this, they're not going to make this easy for them. So I think this will be a hard fought game. And it's unfortunate that somebody has to go to 0-2, but I'm going to go ahead and pick West Orange to win this one. And shout out to NJ Athletics for the graphic. All right, so you saw our games of the week. Just one Thursday game, but let's look at the rest of the week, all right? Let's look at the rest of the week. No free advertising. Like we said, Pennsauken, Washington Township, both teams out to a 1-0 start. Should be good stuff. Oh, Princeton and Allentown. I've definitely done this game before. I don't know if there's going to be any sellout crowd, but there's always a good Mercer County / technically Monmouth County's Upper Freehold. But the Princeton Little Tigers starting out 1-0. How about these guys? I know they went seasons where they didn't even win games, so shout out to them. They can, they have a couple tricks up their sleeve. Allentown, I know they parted ways with their stellar quarterback. That was he threw over like 2,000 or 3,000 yards. Is crazy, but I'm familiar with the coaching staff over there, so shout out to these guys. It's a toss up. It's a real toss up. Could go either way. I'm gonna go with Allentown just because they lost the first week. Ocean City Eastern. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not very well versed on both these teams. I heard a little bit more buzz about Ocean City, so I mean I'm gonna lean more their way to win this one. Winslow playing the early slot against Highland. Yeah, Winslow's arguably the top public school program in the whole state, so I'm gonna pick them to win this one big. We got to get some of those guys on our show. West Windsor South and Cherry Hill East. That one's also a Thursday night special. Salem, Cinnaminson, Florence, and Riverside. Nice little Burlington County rivalry going down there. We got Ewing and Delran. Gotta pay my guys, the Blue Devils, a visit. North and South Brunswick, man. I've done this game. I can't even tell you how many years in a row, but this one of my favorite rivalry games, straight up. Crowds always jumping. I was shocked to see both these teams drop their opening week matchups, but it happens. This is always a good one. South shocked North last year, and listen, just looking at the box scores from last week, I'm gonna lean South Brunswick again in this one. So let's see what the Vikings do. Lenape at Cherokee. I know the Indians they have a new head coach. Cherokee opened up with the win. This is a nice little South Jersey Group 5 rivalry. I'm gonna have to get a little more info on these teams, but from what I've heard, this might be a long night for Lenape. I like Cherokee in this one, but who knows? Haddon Township starting out their season versus Gateway. And we got Mastery, Camden, and Clayton. Shout out to the Clippers. And then I think the website's just tweaking because it says North and New Brunswick going, but it is what it is. Demers, Bergen Tech. I really don't have anything for you on that one. Same thing with Buna and Lindenwold. Good luck to both these teams, as well as Hawthorne, and Wallington. Snyder at Newark Central. Have I done that game? I don't know if I've done that game. Shout out to those guys, though. Bridgeton and Clearview, and then North Bergen and Kearney. Let's jump to our Friday. Let's see. Ooh, we got a 4 p.m. start for RBR and Neptune. Love that. Faculty's going to love that. What time are you guys going to at school for that, though? Yeah, I don't have really anything scouting report on both these teams. Neptune has a little more, I guess Neptune has a little more experience getting the extra weekend, so I'll go with the Flyers. Carter at Perth Amboy. Now, this is normally the Thanksgiving game. I'm not sure if they're doing that anymore, but this is always a good matchup. Both these teams are going to play very, very hard. And, you know, special shout out to the Ramblers, like keeping up with them on social media, their coaching staff, all that. They have these kids working. So I would be shocked if Carteret didn't open the season here with a dub. Belvedere and North Plainfield. I don't have a huge scouting report on these guys. It's the same thing with Passaic and Franklin. A couple other of these, just to give quick shout outs: Secaucus, Palisades Park, Collingswood, Overbrook, and Parsippany and Boonton. We had talked about Rancocas Valley and Pleasantville. So click on here real fast. And yeah, RV smoking them last year. Smoking them. So I am interested to see how this one will fare. But like I said, that our RV, that opening game versus Millville, that has a lot of eyebrows raised. Piscataway, Bridgewater, Raritan. I love this matchup. Two programs that have definitely given me flowers over the years. Shout out to the Higgins family and Coach Jerry over at Peeway. And as well as the Zoo crew over at Bridgewater Raritan. You guys make it so much fun. I love this big central matchup, a pair of 1-0 teams. And yeah, I was gonna say last year's was definitely a shootout. Look at that, 52-48. Bridgewater coming up strong. You know, Piscataway getting a win over a subpar Edison team. And then Bridgewater Raritan opening up with the Mercer County non-public power, and that's not to throw Hunt into that mix, but it's a good opponent to open up the year with. So I am very curious about this matchup, and listen, if the stars align, I might have to pop out for this one. So can't wait. Monmouth and Pinelands. That's just some good old-fashioned Group 1 short conference football, baby. I love it. All right, shout out to Pittman and Sterling. New Brunswick and Plainfield. I have to get a look at Plainfield. I was really impressed with the Cardinals last year. I just think they put together a good schedule. They played like Woodbridge and Somerville and a couple other teams, so it's hard to judge them on. But when I saw them lose in week 0, I was a little shocked. So, who they play? Westfield. I want to say they played Westfield. Yeah, they'll be all right. They'll be all right. Give me Plainfield in this one. Ooh, Riverdale Old Tapan. Talk about a state championship throwback. 2 great North Jersey public programs at that. Jumping into their week 0 matchups. Yeah, so I would definitely say Old Japan opened up with the harder opponent in West Essex, who's the last couple years it seems like they're there at the end with Westmore Central, and Riverdale never anything to sneeze at. They did lose the Nutley, which could be an advantage for them. Just wanting to get back on the right track, but I'm gonna go with Old Japan in this one. It just looks like. Oh, excuse me. Um, it just looks like they have more momentum in their opening week win, so I'll go with them on that. Nottingham taking on Burlington Township. Mad love for North Star Nation. Coach John Adams, what he did for that program, what he brought to that program. I love some Saturday morning football at the old Dust Bowl there in Hamilton. So with that being said, I think it's going to be a long night for the Ham. Night. It'll be a long night for the Ham. Burlington Township just filthy so far to start the year. Timber Creek, Notre Dame. Oof. The Irish going down to Sicklerville to face the Chargers. See if they can get some get back. Voorhees and Island Kennedy both starting out 1-0. Let me see who these guys took on in week 0. Okay, take on Orange. You took on Perth Amboy. So, not that you had a cakewalk, because I don't want to be super disrespectful, but, won decisively in both their games. So it's hard to say. Reality is gonna snap back for one of these one of these teams. I'm gonna give Voorhees the advantage, though. I think they had a tougher matchup there in week 0, and I think it's gonna benefit them. Marlboro at Toms River South. I'm going to give this one to the Mustangs, as well as Toms River North. I'm going to give them this one over Toms River East, just because they got, handled by RBC. Does not mean the Mariners cannot bounce back. All right, Triton and Middle Township, Ridgefield Park, Cliffside Park. I don't know a ton about these teams, but shout out to them. Rumson-Fair Haven at Brick Memorial. I was talking about Rumson earlier. I don't really see a team in Group 2 beating them. Who knows? Maybe Haddonfield always fares well. Shabazz, a couple other Group 2 programs, but it's really hard to not pick RFH. Like I said, they lose a multi-year starter like Owen O'Toole, who throws over 5,000 yards. They reload with a solid running back in Kellen Moore, and they bring back their coaching staff. And it looks like they reloaded with a couple weapons on the outside on offense. So heard a lot of hype about Brick Memorial. But just watching Rumson-Fair Haven, I was enamored with the offense, but the defense was straight locking down Point Borough. I believe it was 34-0. My goodness. Let me get a load here. Pause. But yeah, it was, like I said, decisive win, 34-0 for them. RFH, definitely a favor to win Group 2 again. Roselle Park Spotswood. Look at the Chargers starting out 1-0. Shout out to them. I like them in that matchup. Middlesex Roselle Park, little proximity rivalry game. And then South Plainfield and Delaware Valley. Love that. Both you guys starting out 1-0. Oh man. A lot of teams going on Friday. Goodness gracious. Now it wants to load. Yeah, I don't know. It might be Del Val in this one. Sorry, guys. I'm just a lot of games to go through on Friday. I'm not gonna lie, a lot more than I kind of thought. I was wondering. I was like, dang, I guess everybody's kicking off at 6, but yeah, it's getting lengthy out here. Northern Highlands starting off with a big win. They're gonna take on Wayne Valley. That's always a good matchup. From what I saw, I mean, the Highlanders, they're back on their BS. That's all I could say. They look good, and I can't wait for that Ramapo game. Wayne Hills of West Essex. That should be an interesting matchup. Like I said, West Essex in the playoff mix these last couple years. Wayne Hills taking a step back, so it would be nice to see what the Patriots got going on. And they started out 1-0, so I'm going to pick them to be the favorite this week. Cranford Somerville. I love this matchup. Should be packed. If I don't hit up that P-Way, Bridgewater Raritan, might have to go over here. The Ville always gets great players. They're coached well. They have good, whoever's overseeing them does a great job. So yeah, I like the Pioneers in this matchup. Montclair Ridgewood, that should be a good North Jersey matchup. I like the Maroons in that one. Caldwell, my guys. They were fun to watch these last couple years. I know they suffered their first loss in like 2-3 years, but doesn't mean it's over for the Chiefs. And I expect them to get an opening night win on the road versus Passaic Valley. Like I said, we talked about Bergen Catholic. Westwood Pascack Valley, that should be a good one. Like I said, Pope John without their head coach for game 1. Paramus Catholic losing on the road versus St. Peter's Prep. I think this is going to be a low-key great game because both these teams are just going to duke it out. Shout out Asbury Point Beach. Like, I'm a keyboard guy, so I'm always going to root for Group 1 short conference stuff. Hunter and Central and Monroe, both these teams starting out 1-0. I'll say Monroe taking it to West Windsor South and Hunterdon Central taking it to North Hunterdon. The advantage in this one I give to Hunterdon Central. North Hunterdon has proven themselves the last couple of years. So for them to get a definitive win, Learn how to finally say that word. I like their chances better. Now I'm just going to scroll through the list here just because there's a lot of games to try and navigate here. St. Joe's, Metuchen, and Ridge, I'm interested in. Just both coaches, Bill Tracy and Andy West, linking back up should be good. East Orange will kick off versus Livingston. I'll say shout out to the Jags/Sharks. And yeah, we already went over the rest of these games. So that was your Friday schedule. And then looking at Saturday, I think we have lighter fare. Poly Prep, New York. It's not Cali. Trenton Heightstown. Love both these programs. Shout out to both of you. Showed me mad love when I first got my start, and it has not stopped. So I'll always have love for the people of both of those communities for just, like I said, supporting when they really didn't need to. My Red Raiders, my keyboard Red Raiders need to get it together. It was a little sad seeing that box score, but what are you gonna do? They got to do it. Phillipsburg at Westfield. I think this might be where I go on Saturday just because Phillipsburg is a hike, and those are my guys. I got to show them love. Yeah, I'm curious to see how the State Liners replace Jet Genovese and who Westfield has under center, because the Blue Devils historically always produce some good quarterbacks. West Morris Knowles, two playoff teams duking it out. I would go to that one if it wasn't so dang far. South River. Always like those guys. St. Thomas Aquinas. It'd be interesting to see what they do following the departure of Coach Tariq Holman, who is now over at St. Joseph Montville. So, yeah, I'm genuinely curious to see what the Trojans do. Del Barton and Malvern Prep squaring up for second year in a row, I believe. Maybe they've done it longer than that, but should be a good matchup. I believe Malvern is always top 5 in Pennsylvania. So I do think it'll be a good matchup, and who knows? Maybe Del Barton squeaks one out. Point Borough, Manasquan. Borough needs to get that one. They definitely need to, after suffering that huge loss to Rumson-Fair Haven. And it looks like the Warriors opened up with the win over Toms River South. So I don't know how that's really going to fare that, in their favor. Burner Tillside will definitely be a different type of game now that Coach Grant is over at Union. Willingboro, Camden East Side. Say two programs that have fans that love to travel to see them. So it doesn't matter where they go. These two teams play home games everywhere they go. It looked like Willingboro had a tougher time closing the door on Rawway. I'm gonna go ahead and say Camden East Side in this one. St. Joseph Montvale taking on St. John's College High School. That should be a good one. Can't wait to see what St. Joe's does this year with Coach Augie Hoffman back at the helm for the second year in a row. Talked about West Orange and Passaic Tech. And the weekend wraps up with Union City at St. Peter's Prep. Union City losing in the Group 5 championship to Toms River North last year. St. Peter's Prep opening up with a huge win over Paramus Catholic. Yeah, Pascagoula Valley taking it to Union City. This is going to be a Patterson special, playing at Hinchcliffe. Like I said, Union City, hard for them to reload without the likes of Mark Boyd. They still have a great coaching staff that I know will scheme and put them in the right position. And then St. Peter's Prep, they take a step back after Rich Hansen Sr. Jumps to athletic director, no longer head coach. His son takes over. A little bit of growing pains there for the Marauders, but who knows? They could be back on track, and it was awesome to see them get that opening night victory. So that is our week 1 breakdown. I know I rambled a little bit there, but these are the games we're excited to see in week 1. Let me know what I missed, and also let me know what games you're hitting up this week. All right, everyone, that's going to do it for our show here for week 1. Thank you for sticking with us. Before I give you my little sign off, my little, be safe, don't be an ass at these games, I just want to reiterate, it's great to be back. It's a blessing. I never take any high school football season here in New Jersey for granted. The mission continues, and like I said in one of our 2 parts of our opening show, I could sit here and just hunt 5 and 4 and 3 stars and just hit the usual suspects like everybody else does, but we really just want to make this a platform for to get the word out about I don't even want to know if I want to say all, but yes, we want every single player in New Jersey to get exposure. But, I'm not sitting here chasing a bunch of 5 stars, and I could sit up, I could go up to Oradell, Bergen Catholic, and St. Joe's Montville and just camp there for the whole season and get views and things like that. And it's nothing against those guys. I'm going to be paying them a visit, and I have a lot of great relationships with those people. It's such a big state, and I just see so many coaches doing things for these young men, and these young men overcoming crazy situations, whether that be, financially or things that are going on in their personal lives. I just really love hearing these stories and getting to know these players, these coaches, faculty members, and the people that really make this thing turn. So shout out to you guys. Like I said, I am incredibly blessed that I've gotten to do this for the past longer. It's longer than 8 seasons, but I've definitely been given a lifetime of memories, so I'm appreciative for that. And I'm just looking forward to getting as much ball as I possibly can on film this season. So thank you guys for tuning in. As always, be careful when you're out there this weekend. Represent yourself, your community, your family well, your team. I know we're from Jersey. We get a little rowdy. Can't take us nowhere, but that's okay. That's okay. We always make it a party. All right, guys, be safe. Take care. Don't do nothing dumb. And I'll see you back here next week. Fresh cookies.